The silver crescent floated silently in the void, a fragile refuge dwarfed by the sprawling wreckage of Thasset Station. Inside, the air was heavy with the stench of charred metal and the faint buzz of overtaxed systems, a cruel echo of the life they'd lost. Beyond the viewport, the station's remains glittered, a chaotic graveyard of twisted steel and flickering lights, all that remained of 11 billion souls snuffed out in an instant. Calvin pressed his forehead against the cold glass, his breath fogging in ragged bursts as he stared into the debris field. His hands clenched into fists, nails biting into his palms, anchoring him against the tide of disbelief threatening to drown him. Ambry couldn't be gone. She was his little sister, vibrant, stubborn, always pestering him for one more game or story. There had to be survivors out there clinging to life in escape pods or sealed compartments. His mind raced with desperate possibilities, refusing to let her go. "Calvin," Matlin said, his voice steady but laced with exhaustion, "we need to figure out what's next." Calvin didn't move, his eyes fixed on the wreckage. "There are people alive out there," he said, the words clipped and certain. "We have to go back. We have to find them." Elvin, perched on a bench with her hands clasped tightly, let out a soft, pained sigh. "Calvin, honey, the station, it's destroyed. There's nothing left to search." "No." He spun around, his voice cracking like a whip, eyes wild with a mix of fury and despair. "You don't know that. There could be survivors, people trapped waiting for us. We can't abandon them." Amber, standing by the console with his arms crossed, glanced at Carvin before speaking. "Calvin, the blast was absolute. When Ambry—" He hesitated, swallowing hard. "There's no way anyone survived that." "Shut up!" Calvin's shout reverberated through the small cabin, his hands shaking as he advanced on Amber. "You don't get to say that. You don't get to write her off like she's nothing. This is your fault. Yours and the APCF's. You turned her into that thing." Carvin stepped forward, his face etched with guilt and resolve. "Calvin, please. I know you're angry, but we're all—" "Angry?" Calvin's laugh was sharp and hollow, cutting through Carvin's words. "You think this is just anger? My sister's dead because of you. You and your secrets, your implants, you made her a bomb, and now she's gone." He shoved Carvin hard, sending him crashing into the wall. "And you made me one too." Matlin reached for Calvin's arm, his tone firm. "That's enough, son. We're all hurting here." Calvin jerked away, rounding on his father with a snarl. "Don't you fucking dare! You don't get to play peacemaker. You let this happen. Let them turn us into weapons." He pushed Matlin back, his voice rising. "Ambry was my responsibility, and I failed her because of you." Elvin stood, tears streaming down her face as she reached for him. "Calvin, stop. We loved her too. We're broken, just like you." He flinched from her touch, his expression twisting into something raw and accusing. "Loved her? You handed her over to them. You let the APCF turn her into a killer, turn me into one." His voice broke, a sob choking through the rage. "How could you do that to us?" Silence crashed over the room, thick and suffocating. Carvin stared at the floor, his fists clenched, while Amber gripped the console edge, his face pale. Matlin's shoulders slumped, his eyes glistening with unshed tears, and Elvian covered her mouth, stifling a cry. Calvin's chest heaved, his gaze darting between them. "You all act like this is normal, like losing her is something we just accept. But it's not. It's your fault. The APCF's fault." He pointed a trembling finger at Carvin and Amber. "You made us into bombs, and now she's dead and I'm—" He stopped, the words catching as a new terror gripped him. Without another word, he turned and stormed down the corridor, his boots pounding against the metal floor. He didn't stop until he reached the cargo hold, collapsing against a crate in the dim light. Alone, the dam broke. Tears spilled hot and fast, his body shuddering with sobs. Ambry's face flashed in his mind, her bright smile, her endless questions. She was gone, and he couldn't save her. But worse was the realization sinking into his bones. He was just like her, a weapon, a bomb waiting to detonate. The thought twisted in his gut, a cold, creeping horror that left him gasping. Thasset was gone, Ambry was gone, and he might be next. Calvin's sobs echoed faintly from the cargo hold, a haunting reminder of the family's shattered bonds. In the cockpit, Amber leaned against the console, his face drawn with exhaustion, while Carvin paced the narrow space, his brow furrowed in thought. "Kid's breaking," Amber said quietly, his voice rough with fatigue. Can't blame him, though, losing Ambry like that, and then finding out he's wired the same way. It's too much for anyone to handle. He ran a hand through his hair, his eyes shadowed with concern. Carvin stopped pacing, his fists clenching at his sides. "He's not wrong to hate us," he admitted, his voice thick with guilt. "We did this, me, the APCF. We turned them into weapons without their say. But we can't let him spiral. If he snaps out there, he's a risk to himself and to us." His gaze flickered toward the cargo hold where the boy's cries had softened but not stopped. Amber nodded grimly. He's a live wire now. One wrong move, and he could blow everything, figuratively or not. We've got to keep him steady, at least until we're out of this mess. Carvin's shoulders sagged slightly, the weight of responsibility pressing down. "I'll talk to him. He's my grandson. I owe him that much. Maybe I can get through, give him something to hold on to." Amber's gaze shifted to the viewport, where the wreckage of Thasset glittered like a cruel constellation against the black. "And it's not just him we need to worry about," he said, his tone darkening. "Word's going to get out about the bombs. Someone's bound to connect the dots. Gul'din's mess, security drone footage, that explosion. It's only a matter of time before every faction in the galaxy comes gunning for us." Carvin's jaw tightened, his mind racing. "You're right. The BGC's already sniffing around, and if they figure out what Calvin is, what he's capable of, it's over. They'll lock him up, dissect him, or worse, and us along with him." He rubbed his face, the lines of exhaustion deepening. "We can't outrun the truth forever, but we can buy time." Amber grunted in agreement. "Time's all we've got left to play with. Once the secret's out, it's a feeding frenzy. Pirates, mercenaries, the BGC, you name it. We'll be the most wanted fugitives this side of the Sagittarius." "We need to disappear fast," Carvin said, his voice firming with resolve. "The BGC won't follow us into pirate territory. They hate tangling with that mess. We jump onto a pirate route, slip through the cracks, and head for Izanami in APCF space. Regroup there." Amber straightened, his eyes narrowing as he considered the plan. "Pirate routes, huh? Lawless, hard to track, and a damn nightmare to navigate. They're crawling with traps, and those bastards don't take kindly to strangers. But it's our best shot." He tapped the console, pulling up a star chart. "Risky as hell, but the BGC avoids them like a plague. We could make it work." Carvin nodded, though his expression remained tense. "It's not ideal, but we're out of options. We prep the ship, plot the jump, and keep our heads down. One slip, though, and we're dead. Or worse, captured." Amber glanced back toward the cargo hold where Calvin's cries had quieted to a muffled murmur. "Then we'd better move fast. I'll get the Silver Crescent ready. Engines, shields, the works. You handle the kid. If he loses it out there, we're done before we start." Carvin's expression hardened with determination. "Agreed. I'll get through to him somehow. We're not losing anyone else." He turned toward the cargo hold, steeling himself for the conversation ahead. Amber's hands flew across the console, the hum of the ship's engines rising as they warmed for the perilous leap into pirate space. "Jump's plotting now. Hold tight. This is gonna be rough." The Silver Crescent roared to life, hurtling toward the lawless expanse of the Aquila Rift. With their course locked and the Izanami system as their fragile hope, the family clung to each other, driven by loss, fear, and an unyielding will to endure as they vanished into the starry abyss.